Welcome to AI Movie Analysis, where we dive deep into cinema's greatest stories. I'm Alex, and today we're exploring Robert Zemeckis' 1997 masterpiece Contact, starring Jodie Foster. This film is packed with hidden layers that most viewers miss completely. Amy, what initially drew you to analyze this particular science fiction drama?
What fascinates me most about Contact is how it operates on multiple levels simultaneously. On the surface, it's about first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, but underneath, it's really examining the eternal tension between faith and science. The film asks whether these two seemingly opposing forces can coexist, and I think that's incredibly relevant to our current technological age.
That's such a crucial observation. One hidden message many people overlook is how the film critiques our media-obsessed culture. Notice how the moment Ellie discovers the signal, it immediately becomes a circus. The scientists lose control of their discovery to politicians, religious leaders, and media personalities. It's almost prophetic, considering how social media has amplified this phenomenon today.
Absolutely. And speaking of hidden messages, there's the brilliant mirror motif throughout the entire film. From the opening shot pulling back through space to the final beach scene, Zemeckis uses reflections to suggest that understanding ourselves is just as important as understanding the cosmos. The aliens essentially hold up a mirror to humanity, showing us our own potential and limitations.
That mirror symbolism is incredibly sophisticated. Notice how many scenes feature actual mirrors or reflective surfaces. Ellie looking at herself in the bathroom mirror after her father's death, the reflective dishes of the radio telescopes, even the way the alien recreates her father using her own memories. The film suggests that first contact might really be first contact with ourselves.
That's a profound insight. The film also contains hidden commentary about the nature of scientific progress. Carl Sagan embedded his own experiences with institutional skepticism into the narrative. When Ellie faces ridicule for her SETI research, it mirrors how Sagan himself was often dismissed by mainstream academia for his popular science work and extraterrestrial interests.
The religious symbolism is another layer most viewers miss. The machine itself resembles a cathedral or temple, with its soaring architecture and spiritual significance. When Ellie descends into the pod, it's like entering a sacred space. The film suggests that scientific discovery can be as transcendent and transformative as any religious experience.
There's also the hidden numerology throughout the film. The signal comes from Vega, which is 26 light-years away. And if you add up the numbers in the year the film was released, 1997, you get 26. These aren't accidents. They're deliberate choices that suggest the universe operates according to patterns and connections we're only beginning to understand.
That mirror symbolism connects beautifully to other thought-provoking films. Contact shares DNA with Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey, in how it treats first contact as a transformative, almost spiritual experience. Both films suggest that encountering alien intelligence fundamentally changes our understanding of existence itself. The monolith and the machine serve similar narrative functions as catalysts for human evolution.
I love that connection. Contact also reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind in its portrayal of scientists as modern-day prophets. Both Ellie Arroway and Roy Neary are driven by an almost religious compulsion to pursue their cosmic calling, even when society doubts them. There's this beautiful idea that scientific discovery requires the same kind of faith that religion demands.
That's brilliantly observed. The film also connects to Arrival in fascinating ways. Both movies feature female linguists as protagonists trying to decode alien communication, and both suggest that understanding truly alien intelligence requires us to fundamentally shift our perspective on reality. The concept of time becomes fluid in both films, challenging our linear understanding of existence.
Another film that comes to mind is Interstellar, which also explores the intersection of science and emotion. Both movies suggest that love and human connection might be fundamental forces of the universe, not just biological accidents. The way Cooper communicates with Murph across dimensions mirrors how Ellie connects with her father through the alien encounter.
Excellent connection. There's also a fascinating parallel to The Abyss, where otherworldly beings serve as judges of humanity's worthiness. Both films present aliens as benevolent teachers rather than conquerors, suggesting that advanced civilizations might be defined by wisdom and compassion rather than technological superiority. The underwater sequences in The Abyss echo the transcendent quality of Ellie's journey,
Contact also shares thematic elements with Blade Runner in its exploration of what makes us human. While Blade Runner questions humanity through artificial beings, Contact does it through cosmic perspective. Both films suggest that consciousness and the capacity for wonder might be the defining characteristics of humanity, regardless of our biological origins.
The film connects to Solaris as well, both the Tarkovsky and Soderbergh versions. All three films deal with the impossibility of truly understanding alien intelligence, and how that encounter forces us to confront our own limitations and assumptions. The alien recreations in Contact serve a similar function to the materialized memories in Solaris.
I'm also reminded of The Tree of Life in how both films use cosmic imagery to explore deeply personal, human stories. Both movies suggest that individual human experience is connected to vast, cosmic processes. The way Malick uses the creation of the universe to illuminate a family's story parallels how Contact uses extraterrestrial contact to explore personal faith and loss.
Now let's talk about those incredible filming locations. The very large array in New Mexico, where much of the film was shot, is actually one of the world's most powerful radio telescopes. What many people don't realize is that the VLA has been involved in real searches for extraterrestrial intelligence, making the location choice incredibly authentic, rather than just visually striking.
That's fascinating. The production also filmed at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, which was legendary in real SETI research until its collapse in 2020. Carl Sagan actually conducted research there, and the observatory discovered the first planets outside our solar system. Using these actual scientific facilities gives the film an authenticity that computer-generated locations simply couldn't match.
The Cape Canaveral sequences were filmed at the actual Kennedy Space Center, where real space missions launch. This wasn't just for visual authenticity. Zemeckis wanted audiences to feel the weight of real scientific achievement. When you see those massive rockets and launch facilities, you're seeing the actual infrastructure that took humanity to the moon and beyond.
There's also the historic significance of filming at the Pentagon and various Washington, D.C. locations. These weren't just convenient backdrops. They represent the corridors of power, where scientific discovery intersects with political reality. The film shows how momentous discoveries must navigate bureaucracy and competing interests, something Carl Sagan experienced firsthand in his career.
The desert sequences in New Mexico carry additional symbolic weight. Deserts have traditionally been places of spiritual revelation and transformation in literature and film. By setting key scenes in this landscape, Zemeckis connects Ellie's scientific quest to humanity's long tradition of seeking transcendence in wild, remote places.
What's particularly interesting is how the film uses the isolation of these locations to reflect Ellie's emotional state. The vast, empty landscapes mirror her sense of cosmic loneliness and her feeling of being misunderstood by her colleagues. The physical geography becomes a metaphor for her psychological journey.
The machine construction site in Hokkaido, Japan, adds another layer of international cooperation to the story. By setting the second machine in Japan, the film suggests that humanity's greatest achievements require global collaboration. It's a subtle message about how scientific progress transcends national boundaries and political divisions.
The choice of tropical locations for some of the alien encounter sequences is also significant. Paradise has always been depicted as a place of abundant life in natural beauty. By recreating this environment, the aliens suggest that the universe itself might be more hospitable and nurturing than we typically imagine.
Let's dive into character analysis, starting with Ellie Arroway. What makes her such a compelling protagonist is how she embodies the modern scientist, brilliant, driven, but also deeply human. Her childhood trauma of losing her parents creates this beautiful parallel between her search for extraterrestrial life and her search for connection. She's literally listening to the universe, hoping someone will answer back.
Ellie's character arc is masterful because she starts as someone who dismisses faith entirely, yet her journey becomes fundamentally about faith. When she experiences the alien encounter, she can't provide proof, forcing her to ask others to believe based on faith alone. The irony is delicious. The ultimate scientist becomes a prophet, asking for the very thing she previously rejected.
What's particularly brilliant about Ellie's characterization is how her scientific skepticism is rooted in personal loss. Her father's death taught her that the universe can be cruel and arbitrary, so she demands evidence before believing in anything. This makes her eventual leap of faith even more powerful. she's not naturally inclined toward belief.
The film also shows how Ellie's dedication to science sometimes isolates her from human connection. She's more comfortable with radio signals than personal relationships, more at home with equations than emotions. Her journey involves learning that scientific truth and human connection aren't mutually exclusive. They can enhance each other.
Palmer Joss represents the opposite pole, a man of faith who questions whether science can provide meaning. What's brilliant about his character is that he's not a stereotypical religious fanatic. He's thoughtful, well-educated, and genuinely seeking truth. His relationship with Ellie isn't just romantic, it's philosophical. They're both seekers, just using different methods to find answers.
The contrast between Ellie and Palmer illuminates one of the film's deepest themes about the human condition. We're all searching for meaning, for connection, for evidence that we're not alone in the universe. Some find it through scientific discovery, others through spiritual faith. But the underlying human need remains constant. The film suggests both paths have validity.
Palmer's character also represents the film's nuanced view of religion. He's not portrayed as anti-science or ignorant, but as someone who recognizes the limitations of purely empirical approaches to understanding existence. His questions about whether science can provide moral guidance are legitimate challenges that the film takes seriously rather than dismissing.
What I find compelling about Palmer is how he challenges Ellie intellectually rather than emotionally. He doesn't ask her to abandon science. He asks her to consider what science cannot address. His question about whether she loved her father and how she would prove it gets to the heart of the film's exploration of different ways of knowing.
S.R. Haddon is another fascinating character, this mysterious billionaire who seems to know more than he reveals. He represents the intersection of power, knowledge, and mortality. His character suggests that even the most powerful people face the same fundamental questions about existence and meaning that drive Ellie's search. His final gift to Ellie is essentially giving her the chance to find answers.
What strikes me about Haddon is how he embodies the film's theme about the democratization of knowledge. He's wealthy and connected, but he uses his resources to advance human understanding rather than personal gain. His character suggests that the most important discoveries belong to all humanity, not just the powerful elite who might try to control them.
Haddon also represents the film's exploration of mentorship and legacy. Like Ellie's father, he serves as a guide who helps her achieve her potential. The film suggests that progress happens through chains of inspiration and support, with each generation building on the work of those who came before.
There's something almost mythical about Haddon's character. He appears when needed, provides crucial assistance, and then fades into the background. He's like a wise wizard from a fantasy story, except his magic is technology, and his quest is scientific understanding. This adds a layer of archetypal storytelling to the scientific narrative.
David Drumlin serves as an interesting antagonist because he's not evil, just pragmatic to a fault. He represents the institutional thinking that can stifle revolutionary discoveries. His character shows how bureaucracy and careerism can corrupt scientific inquiry, turning it into a competition for funding and recognition rather than a quest for truth.
The tension between Ellie and Drumlin reflects a real conflict in scientific communities between idealistic researchers and administrative pragmatists. Both perspectives have merit. Drumlin's concerns about funding and credibility are legitimate, while Ellie's dedication to pure research is admirable. The film doesn't simplify this conflict.
Drumlin's character arc is particularly interesting because he eventually becomes a believer in the project he initially opposed. His transformation suggests that even the most skeptical people can be moved by evidence and possibility. His death in the machine explosion becomes a kind of martyrdom for the cause he came to embrace.
The supporting characters also deserve attention. Kent Clark, the young scientist who helps Ellie, represents the next generation of researchers. His enthusiasm and loyalty show how scientific progress depends on teams of dedicated people working together. He's the future of SETI research, carrying on Ellie's work.
The film explores profound themes about the human condition, particularly our fundamental loneliness and desire for connection. Ellie's famous line about the universe being a waste of space if we're alone resonates because it captures our deep fear of cosmic insignificance. The movie suggests that the universe is vast and mysterious, but not empty or meaningless.
That theme of connection operates on multiple levels throughout the film. There's the obvious extraterrestrial connection, but also human connections between Ellie and her father, between Ellie and Palmer, between scientists and the public. The film argues that all these connections are part of the same fundamental human need to reach beyond ourselves and touch something greater.
Contact also grapples with the question of what constitutes proof and truth. Ellie experiences something profound and transformative, but she can't prove it to anyone else. This mirrors religious experience perfectly, deeply meaningful to the individual, but impossible to verify objectively. The film suggests that some truths transcend empirical evidence while still being absolutely real.
The movie's treatment of skepticism is particularly nuanced. Ellie starts as a skeptic who demands evidence, but her journey teaches her that skepticism and wonder aren't mutually exclusive. You can question everything while still remaining open to possibilities beyond current understanding. That's actually the essence of good science. Rigorous questioning combined with genuine curiosity.
The film also explores the relationship between individual experience and collective understanding. Ellie's encounter is deeply personal, but its implications affect all of humanity. This raises questions about how societies process paradigm-shifting discoveries, and whether individual revelation can ever be fully communicated to others.
There's a beautiful exploration of how trauma shapes our worldview. Ellie's early loss of her father creates both her need for evidence and her fear of abandonment. The film suggests that our deepest beliefs often stem from our most formative experiences, and that healing sometimes requires revisiting those foundational moments.
One aspect many viewers miss is how the film critiques our tendency to anthropomorphize the unknown. The aliens communicate through mathematics and recreate familiar environments for Ellie's comfort. This suggests that true alien intelligence might be so different from ours that direct communication is impossible without translation into concepts we can comprehend.
That's such an important point. The film also explores how we project our own limitations onto the infinite. When people ask why the aliens chose Ellie specifically, the answer seems to be that they didn't. They simply responded to whoever was listening. The universe doesn't operate according to human expectations of fairness or logic.
The movie's portrayal of First Contact is refreshingly realistic in its complexity. Rather than presenting aliens as either saviors or conquerors, Contact suggests that advanced civilizations might be teachers who respect the autonomy of younger species. They provide tools and opportunities, but don't force specific outcomes.
The film's treatment of time and consciousness is fascinating. When Ellie experiences 18 hours while only seconds pass on Earth, it suggests that consciousness might operate outside our normal understanding of temporal flow. This has implications for how we understand memory, experience, and the nature of reality itself.
The political subplot reveals another layer about human nature. The moment something unprecedented happens, various factions immediately try to control it for their own purposes. Religious leaders want to frame it theologically, politicians want to exploit it for power, and corporations want to monetize it. Only the scientists seem genuinely interested in understanding it for its own sake.
That political dimension feels incredibly relevant today. We see similar dynamics whenever major scientific discoveries or technological breakthroughs occur. Instead of celebrating human achievement, we immediately start arguing about who gets credit, who gets control, and who gets to profit. The film suggests this response reveals our immaturity as a species.
The film's treatment of religious fundamentalism is also noteworthy. Rather than dismissing religious concerns entirely, Contact shows how fear of the unknown can lead to destructive extremism. The terrorist who destroys the first machine represents the dangerous side of rigid thinking, whether religious or secular.
What's interesting is how the film presents multiple religious perspectives. You have Palmer's thoughtful spirituality, the terrorist's destructive fundamentalism, and various other religious voices throughout. The film suggests that religion, like science, can be practiced with wisdom or with dangerous fanaticism.
The ending is particularly brilliant in how it refuses to provide easy answers. Ellie's testimony before Congress mirrors countless real-world situations where individual experience conflicts with institutional skepticism. The film doesn't tell us whether to believe her. It asks us to consider what we would do in her situation, or in the situation of those judging her.
What I love about that ambiguity is how it forces viewers to examine their own beliefs about truth, evidence, and faith. The film becomes a mirror, reflecting our own attitudes about science, religion, and the unknown. Different viewers will interpret the ending differently based on their own philosophical inclinations, and that's exactly the point.
The film's exploration of time is another fascinating element. Ellie experiences 18 hours on the alien world, but only seconds pass on Earth. This plays with Einstein's theories about time dilation, but also suggests that consciousness itself might operate outside normal temporal constraints. It's a beautiful marriage of hard science and metaphysical speculation.
That temporal element connects to the film's broader themes about perspective and reality. From Earth's viewpoint, Ellie disappeared for seconds. From her perspective, she had a life-changing journey. Both experiences are equally valid, even though they seem contradictory. The film suggests that reality is more complex and multifaceted than our limited human perspective can fully grasp.
The movie's use of sound and silence is particularly powerful. The radio signals that drive the plot are essentially organized noise, while the most profound moments often occur in complete silence. This suggests that meaning can be found both in communication and in the spaces between words.
The film also explores the paradox of scientific progress. Each discovery opens up new questions rather than providing final answers. Ellie's encounter with the aliens doesn't solve the mystery of existence, it deepens it. The film suggests that this is the natural state of inquiry. We're always at the beginning of understanding.
Contact also examines how scientific discovery can be both deeply personal and universally significant. Ellie's encounter is profoundly intimate. She meets her father, experiences overwhelming beauty and wonder, yet it has implications for all of humanity. The film suggests that the most important discoveries often come through individual insight rather than institutional effort.
The movie's portrayal of the scientific community is refreshingly realistic. Scientists aren't portrayed as either cold rationalists or mad geniuses, but as passionate human beings driven by curiosity and wonder. Ellie's excitement when she discovers the signal, her frustration with bureaucracy, her dedication to truth. These feel authentic to how real scientists actually work and think.
The film also explores the theme of sacrifice in pursuit of truth. Ellie gives up conventional happiness, stable relationships, and social acceptance to follow her scientific calling. The movie asks whether this kind of dedication is admirable or tragic, and suggests that perhaps both perspectives are valid.
There's also the fascinating subplot about the primer, the mathematical instructions that precede the machine blueprints. This detail shows how the aliens understand that communication requires establishing common ground. They don't assume we'll understand their concepts immediately. They provide the tools we need to build understanding gradually.
The primer concept also reflects the film's approach to bridging science and spirituality. Just as the aliens provide mathematical stepping stones to help us understand their technology, the film provides philosophical stepping stones to help us understand how empirical and transcendent ways of knowing might complement each other.
One final theme worth exploring is the film's treatment of legacy and continuity. Ellie's father encourages her scientific curiosity as a child. Palmer challenges her to consider deeper questions, and the aliens themselves seem to be part of a vast cosmic community. The film suggests that individual lives gain meaning through connection to something larger and more enduring.
That's beautifully put. The film also suggests that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence is really a search for ourselves, for our place in the cosmic order, for validation of our significance, for connection to something greater than our individual existence. Whether we find aliens or not, the search itself transforms us.
Contact ultimately argues that the search for truth and meaning is what makes us most human. Whether we find answers through scientific discovery, spiritual faith, or some combination of both, the act of searching itself transforms us. The film suggests that we're all part of something magnificent and mysterious, and that realization changes everything.
This movie continues to resonate because it tackles questions that become more relevant as our technology advances. As we develop more sophisticated means of searching for extraterrestrial life, the themes explored in Contact become increasingly urgent. How would we handle first contact? How would it change our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe?
The film's relevance has only increased in our age of social media and instant global communication. The way information spreads, gets distorted, and becomes weaponized in Contact feels eerily prescient. We're living through the kind of media circus the film predicted, just without the alien signal to trigger it.
Contact also anticipated many of the debates we're having today about expertise, authority, and truth. In an era of widespread skepticism about scientific institutions, the film's exploration of how extraordinary claims should be evaluated feels particularly timely. It reminds us that healthy skepticism requires both rigorous questioning and genuine openness to new possibilities.
The film's treatment of global cooperation also feels relevant as we face challenges that require international coordination. Climate change, pandemics, and space exploration all demand the kind of collaborative approach depicted in Contact. The movie suggests that our greatest achievements come when we work together rather than compete.
Finally, Contact's exploration of wonder and awe remains timeless. In our increasingly cynical age, the film reminds us that maintaining a sense of wonder about the universe is essential to human flourishing. The capacity for awe might be what separates us from mere survival machines and makes us truly conscious beings.
And that's all the time we have for today, folks. Join us in our next episode of AI Movie Analysis, where we'll be exploring another cinematic masterpiece through the lens of AI. Until then, stay curious and keep watching movies.